Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to your reading. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Okay, just need to make sure this is looking good. And move the zoom over to this window. Perfect. Okay, now let's share the screen. Let's do one quick little thing first. Okay, very good. Okay, let's share the screen to show the chart. So Amy, so the first thing that is, very, very obvious, is, sun in Scorpio, square moon in Taurus. Now, this is very, very significant. Mostly because when you have your sun square your moon, it speaks to a conflict between the feminine and the masculine side of your personality. And as you know, the sun is the core. It's the core essence of who you are. Everyone speaks of it as the most important part of your natal chart and your astrology in general, when in reality it's the moon is just as important. You can't have one without the other, just like you can't have the masculine without the feminine. So basically, when you have a square, which relates, it basically relates to tension, right, between the two most important parts in your chart. And I have this also, just so you know, so I can speak from experience. It typically means that there is there's a big difference between the two. It's like I give the same metaphor every reading. Maybe I'll give a different one today, and I'll say that, and this is your sun over here, your moon over here. I'll say that it's like being in a plane and having the the captain and the pilot and the co-pilot, and or no, let's say there's two pilots that are of equal importance, and each of them wants to go different directions. Or I always use the boat, like the metaphor, that same metaphor, but for a boat, but I try to decide to switch it up. In comparison to, if you had, let's say, your sun in Scorpio, your moon in Pisces, that, both water signs, that would be way different. But no, you have square. So it basically makes it so you kind of have to, you have these two sides to yourself that are very different and that somehow need to be balanced out. So, and I'll share myself in a second. So with the Scorpio part, I don't really waste my time. Time is precious, and we all know about our sun signs here. But just let me switch back right now. Okay. So we know that Sun Scorpio, very intense sign, all about death, rebirth, and transformation. And it's quite serious. What can I say? And I said that incorrectly. I have this thing with my computer where the brightness just screws it up. Your moon is Capricorn, sorry, not Taurus. I should have seen that right away, but because of how my software is, it makes it look like Taurus and Capricorn look exactly the same. But yeah, obviously, like Taurus is actually the opposite sign of Scorpio. So yeah, it's a moon in Capricorn, sun in Scorpio. So they're very different energies. And I want to see one thing really quickly. Now, they're different energies. However, it's not going to be as intense of a square because it's an elemental sextile, meaning that usually Capricorn in Scorpio kind of contradicts what I just said. I don't know why I just said that that they're two very different energies. They're energies that get along quite well, actually. So even though you technically have an angle, a square based on the angles, I'm not really going to focus on it that much because you have a Capricorn moon and a Scorpio sun, and just like when we're dealing with the sun and the moon, the way I look at it is just based on the fact that you're a Scorpio, like Scorpio and Capricorn, they get along well. Of course, your moon will be like a cusp with Aquarius, but I don't look at cusps with moon signs. I only look at them with sun signs, not because they don't exist, just because I haven't. That's just how I experience them. So, in essence, Scorpio, 9th house sun, moon in Capricorn 11th house. It's actually gonna kind of push away that metaphor of them going two different ways. Usually this will create quite a serious individual. Of course, you do have your Pisces ascendant, but to have the sun in Scorpio, it makes you someone who's very involved with kind of like the darker parts of your being, the darker parts of your personality, the shadow work, if you will. And then to have your moon in Capricorn, well, this is a very, very interesting moon placement, and you have, let's see, no real difficult aspects besides this one with your sun. And actually, looking at your whole chart, besides Mars square Uranus, it's Mars square Uranus, Venus square Mars, and Sun square Moon. Those are the three like difficult aspects you have. So it's not, a very complex chart from this, like just looking at it from this point of view, just from that zoomed out point of view. Now, I will say that you lack any of the element air in your chart, which is the signs of Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. So when you lack air in your chart, you can tend to lack objectivity. It can make someone more subjective, someone more I guess you could say there can definitely be like a stubborn streak in the kind of chart that you have, but like you're also very much saved by the fact that you're a Pisces rising, right? Because Pisces rising, it's kind of like your personality, and that actually makes you, it really, really helps your chart. Because if you had, say, Scorpio rising or Capricorn rising, or I don't know, like Taurus rising, you would be the most stubborn person ever. And you already have Leo, you have Leo Mars. It's another fixed, you have a lot of fixed energy, right? You have a ton of fixed energy, which fixed energy, it doesn't like to budge. Like it likes to kind of stick to what it knows. It's very good at like, starting things and just continuing, and just like, going like, just like, it just goes, right? But it's not very good with being flexible. But when you're Pisces rising, don't worry, I'm going to circle all, like back around to everything. Like Scorpio rising, or excuse me, come on, Jesse. Pisces rising. So first of all, you have a trine between your Scorpio sun and your Pisces ascendant, because these are both water elements. So that means that there's a very smooth expression between. It's very, very good for popularity. It's good for health as well, for vitality. But basically what it means is that the way that you appear, your outer personality, is very similar to your sun, like, which is like I said, the core essence of who you are, your identity. So there's not much of a difference. And then when Capricorn is there too, it also has a smooth relationship with Pisces. So you know, just your big three in general, there's not like this energy of like do, even though it is technically a square. That's like what confused me at the start. It's not it's an elemental sextile. So, and it's 6 degrees from like a 6-degree square, like that. I don't know. Personally, I'm not gonna go into the sun moon square being something of great significance in that sense. Now more about kind of Scorpio and Capricorn. So Capricorn moon, the moon represents like what we need to be happy, what we need to be secure, satisfied, and so Capricorn moons, they have this thing where it can be prone to depression. There's definitely a link between Capricorn moon and melancholy. So you're born in 79, so I imagine in Australia. So I imagine that not that the Australia part matters, but I imagine that, you know, your Saturn return around 30 was like a big shift for you, like a huge change in your life. Just I just can't imagine like it being any other way. Do you have any other planets in Capricorn or any planet? Yeah, no, just that. So yeah, just like from an emotional standpoint, probably lots of emotional maturity. And like a weight off your shoulders in that respect. I know someone who has a similar chart. Of course, like this individual has like everything in Scorpio and Capricorn. Like you obviously have Pisces rising, you have Mars and Leo, you have Jupiter and Virgo. You know, you have some other stuff going on. This guy had like just everything, so it was kind of an extreme example, and he was like one of the most like I don't think he has ever said a joke in his life. Like I don't think he's ever like actually laughed. And he was extremely smart, extremely analytical, almost like obsessive, right? So this is so I'm saying this because this isn't how you are, but this is just how these two signs can combine, right? Because he was also you know, he was the opposite, which is like Scorpio moon, Capricorn sun. And yeah, just like very obsessive with details, like spent his whole life like just researching different things. Very huge loner, right? Very big loner. I don't know if you saw my post about I just came out with like indicators of introverts. Well, you would definitely fit like nearly every one, right? I mean, like besides like the Mars and fire, very introverted chart. Now, with that said, that doesn't mean that your life purpose is meant to be introverted, because you have many planets above the horizon, which typically means that if you were to write an autobiography at the end of your life, the main events, the main parts of the book would be events, as opposed to if your planets were like, I'll show the chart again to make more sense of it. You see how everything is above, right? Like most planets are above this, like from these houses. If they were underneath, it would be more of like the most important parts in your life would be more like I don't know, like internal understandings, like, oh, on this day, like I learned like this blah blah blah, like very internal. So there is definitely a public part to your life, even though with a south node in Pisces, which is like your past life tendency, there's definitely a tendency to be more in the spiritual and mystical world. So, most people I see, especially like having like your south node, which rules, like I said, your past life tendency, who you were in a past life, conjunct your ascendant in Pisces. That's kind of like a surefire sign that there's definitely some Actually, I want to share. Oh yeah, never mind. There's definitely some past life mysticism. And I know my hair is crazy. I'm gonna get a haircut soon. I promise everyone. Um. So yeah, like definitely like bringing over into this lifetime a lot of like your personality, like your present life personality. Like there's a strong chance that the way you look and the way you express yourself in this life is like very, very similar to how you did in a past life, a recent past life. Um, you know, so that's very interesting. So you definitely, and like all like so many of like the most magical people that I see, whether they're famous or clients, they have like a lot of them have South Node in Pisces. And basically, what it means from a karmic perspective is that in past lives, you've been very much like the like someone who has an epic imagination, very mystical, and who in the first house is able to at the same time be quite independent and be maybe like an artist or something. Like I don't want to like guess jobs, but someone who in this lifetime, there's like this need, this karmic push towards being more in the material world. So like kind of taking your like making your dreams more realities, I guess you could say, right? Like not just like you're like, oh, this would be so amazing, like actually putting like the dreams to action. And then also there's an emphasis, a karmic emphasis on relationships and on being not necessarily like making like more sacrifices when it comes to relationships, but being willing to kind of take more risks in that domain of life. And basically like on that line of like super independent, I'm not budging for anyone, and codependency, like finding like a balance in that middle. It's like the Aries Libra axis, right? Now back to your moon in Capricorn, because I could talk for an hour about just moon in Capricorn. Very karmic placement. It has to do with the need and lots of Capricorn moons are people who need therapy. Not that they're like fucked up or anything like that, just because there's like a need to what I always say is crystallize emotion or crystallize liquefy opposite crystallize emotional patterns that you've kind of inherited from past lives, right? So in this lifetime, you're really trying to like break free of past life conditioning from like the emotional part of you. And Capricorn moons, there can be a real fear of vulnerability and of I guess like allowing yourself to be, how can I say it? Like Capricorn moons, they tend, especially as a Scorpio sun, they tend like to be the kind of person that like when they're hurting, people like like they're kind of quiet about it and they're not gonna like really speak up, and they have trouble asking for help a lot of the times. I mean, it's easier in women's charts, I've noticed, but can definitely be difficult regardless of the sex. And yeah, they just kind of um have issues asking for help, issues with vulnerability. There's an emotional need for doing something. So Capricorn moons, in order to be happy and to really feel fulfilled, they have to like be in society. Your midheaven is in Scorpio, so like really like doing something that is like they really feel is of use to society. One second. And they can be quite depressed if they feel like they're not being useful. Um, Now, in terms of like relationship implications, I mean, there's like the moon is super important when it comes to relationships. So, for that one, it is very important to make sure that you have a partner that is like you're gonna really want to be proud of your partner, right? You're really gonna want to take pride in them. There's definitely a hermit tendency also in the Capricorn moon, Scorpio sun. So you're gonna probably want someone who, I don't necessarily think in relationships that like everyone is like looking for the same, exactly the same kind of person. I think opposites do attract, but like, like you're probably more of a homebody. I can't be sure of that. I'll tell you why in a little bit, but having your Juno, which is like what your like ideal partner is in Cancer, and your moon in Capricorn is a clear indication to me, and they oppose each other. That on one hand, you want someone who's also very like nurturing and in touch with the feminine side, and able to kind of, I don't want to say mother you, but like kind of mother you, like with like touch and closeness, good food, kind of like the home cocoon, like just the safety of the home being so like beautiful for you guys, like being so sacred, and someone that shares that value. But then also like at the same time, someone who's down to like be hermit mode, but then someone also who is kind of like you in that Capricorn moon part, where they're like really like trying to do something for like they really care about their career, they really care about their contribution to the world. And I don't mean that necessarily like in a humanitarian type of way. That's more Aquarius. Capricorn is more like it like success, like it could be like a lawyer, a businessman, entrepreneur, like whatever. Someone who or like even like a policeman, someone who just like cares about what they're doing at the highest level of Capricorn, right? Like where there's like a sense of honor, right, and a purpose, right? Who is serious and who's serious about the relationship, right? Because then when we throw in the fact that not only are you a Scorpio sun, right, which your sun and your moon are two very serious signs. As I said, you're a Scorpio Venus, and Scorpio Venus is basically gonna make you value the more intense types of relationships, the more very, very emotional types of relationships, and the relationships, and it's conjunct Uranus though, so that's what's really interesting, right? So there's going to be this push and pull in your relationships between wanting someone who's very, very like twin flame status, like two souls becoming one, that kind of energy, but then someone who also is very, very different, like who's really like their own person, and also who gives you space. It could be someone, there's a high likelihood that you'd be attracted to someone from a different culture because it's all in the 9th house. But overall, you want, like, through your partner, your relationships, you want to learn, and you also want to have fun because your Juno's in the 5th house. So there's like this fire energy also, like wanting to like explore, adventure, learn, like philosophy, higher truth, but then also I just got a bug bite. What the heck? How did that just happen? That's really weird. It's so scratchy now. Yeah, so that feels weird. That's that, but we'll get more into that in a little bit. But wrapping back around to the ascendant, right? So the ascendant in Pisces, that's like the ultimate chameleon energy, right? Pisces rising people are chameleons. Like, they are people who are like made to be actors and actresses, right? Because they can just like switch up, like based on the circumstance or the environment they're in. They can just like boom, become a different person. And often they get projected on a lot. That's one thing that's common with Pisces rising, is that they can get projected on a lot, and they can almost like end up being what that other person like wants them to be. So there can be big time like identity issues, and it's really important, like as a Capricorn, which like Capricorn or Capricorn moon and Scorpio sun, those, especially Capricorn is all about boundaries, right? So Capricorn moon is going to give you also an emotional need to have very strong boundaries with people. And it's going to make you good at that. But the thing is, like, that's on one level, but on another level, the Pisces rising, like, just in a nutshell, and remember, in astrology, you can't take things in not a nutshell, in a vacuum, like by itself, like just like me saying, like only talking about Pisces rising, it has issues with boundaries. So in the follow-up, we can definitely talk about boundaries. Make sure to write that down. God, look at this is like a bug bite that just happened. Yeah. So, like, I'm curious to know about how that works for you in relationships. But yeah, overall, the fact that the house of the moons in the ninth house, that is a surefire sign that you are a Scorpio, but you are someone who's very adventurous, and you are someone who a lot of their purpose is learning in this lifetime, and kind of being like there's like a real tendency to be more introverted, be more of a homebody. But like the real test for you is, like, can you be someone who makes compromises? There's the word I was looking for. Who makes compromises in your relationships, right? And then also who puts, as I was saying before, your dreams and all your epic imagination and all this mysticism that you've taken over from past lives, and puts them into actual usage in this lifetime. That's the question, right? So if you're able to do that. Now, in 1 second, let me share this again. So, no. Okay, so yeah, you see this Scorpio block here. So it's in the 9th house, right? Like, you see that there, and then the moon's in the 11th. So, and then this is obviously the ascendant. So, what's interesting about your chart is that your moon is hidden. So that Capricorn part of you, which is super ambitious, super hardworking, Capricorn moons, they tend to like kind of have to go through hardships earlier in life, especially on an emotional level. Like, maybe they're forced to kind of have to like grow up fast, that kind of thing, right? I feel like there might be a certain level, like people might like take you as, I don't want to say weaker than you are, like they might underestimate you, because like the whole thing with Pisces rising, right, in conjunction the node, right, is that it's not a weak energy, but for a rising sign, it's definitely someone who kind of like, they're not gonna like be the person right like out the gates to like start the conversation and this and that. Like they'll be way more introverted, right? And it goes along with the rest of your chart, but like also with Pisces rising, a lot of like some people like kind of more like, let's say like Aries, like more strong, like physically kind of dominant energies with like the shadow of Aries can be like a bully, right? They might feel like they can push you around, and this maybe was more when you're younger. But then there's this like so like that could actually like kind of like speak to like that Capricorn moon, which is like it's just like it's like the energy of someone who like always gets back up. They get pushed down, they always get back up. And then when they turn 30, they basically just like this energy, like where they felt like they were like constantly like move 1 step forward and then 2 steps back, or then 2 steps forward, then 1 step back. Then that energy starts to go away, and they're left with this like hardcore resilience, right? And determination. But like overall, that ambitious, very responsible, and Capricornian side of you might be hidden. So I'm curious how boundaries worked out, because people might like, based on how you look, not look, like your personality, like the mask you wear, think that they can kind of like persuade you to do things, and that Capricorn moon might be like, oh hell no, I have my rules, you know, and I follow my rules. But then the Scorpio is going to be like, you know, that's like that real intense part of you, right? And you have a stellium in Scorpio. You have 4 planets in Scorpio, 3 personal, one Uranus, right? Or 1 outer planet, Uranus. So, you know, that having a stellium in the 9th house of Scorpio is linking, you know, 9th house of Sagittarius. So it's linking, though, like, even though it's not exactly linked, but it's like similar to the sign of Sagittarius. So it's like there's this like deep energy, like drive within yourself. Like a big part of your life is death, rebirth, transformation, like where you're like really going within yourself, within your own psyche, to discover lessons that then maybe you're like a teacher, maybe like you're a teacher to the people around you, or like very philosophical mind, and you're applying what you learn from like this internal like kind of Jungian exploration. You're applying that to your like overall life philosophy. Like a big part of your life is gaining like this overall understanding of what real ultimate truth is, right? So like, you know, people who have low 9th houses, like sometimes they become astrologers, or, you know, philosophers, or teachers, or travelers, endless travelers. You know, like they're people who like that's like what their mission is about. And then the fact that your moon's in the 11th house, that's speaking to like the need to be parts of like groups of people, friendships, tribes, like people with common goals, right? But there might be some issues, some up and down energy, because the moon is always fluctuating. Like friends, you're gonna have a very big emotional attachment to friends, and also to like you might feel like humanity as a whole. Like it's gonna add like an Aquarian energy to you, right? So I would imagine you as someone who's super compassionate, without a doubt, and who fights, you know, for the underdog, who but like with the Pisces rising, you just like you have to watch out for being like impressionable. That's what people might think you're more impressionable than you are, but the Scorpio is so good at analyzing, right? So you have this super good analytical energy. You're an analyzer. So I'd be curious to hear like stories of like how people may have like misjudged you, you know, or thought that you like were a pushover, and then they learned that you weren't at all. But yeah, so like the sun, so sun and 9th house, that's kind of what that's all about. This push towards like through travels, either physical or metaphoric, like whether it's, you know, through different like people speaking to people from different worldviews, or learning different philosophies, different books, studying different things at different universities, traveling different cultures. Like these types of experiences are like so important and key for your solar fulfillment, which solar fulfillment is like life purpose, which is also like North Node's more karmic life purpose. But then the moon's house is like, you know, like the arena of life where you feel very at home, which is around your friends, you know, and around groups and organizations that have a kind of a common goal as you. And then also, yeah. So what else can I say about Capricorn moon? So I have to repeat the part about the need for the liquefaction of the crystallized emotional patterns. It's a very difficult moon sign to have, Capricorn, more as a man, because of toxic masculinity. Females are so blessed. Like one of my best friends, she's literally a Scorpio sun, Capricorn moon. I didn't realize that. Her rising is Gemini. And she is the most jovial, fun, loving person, because she broke through the difficulty of the she basically, the way she channels her Capricorn moon, because there's a low, medium, high manifestation of every sign, everything in the entire astrology almanac, right? Every possibility in your chart. So she's just a very hard worker. That's like something about Capricorn moon. Like she had to grow up kind of fast. She kind of had to be like the mother of her own mother. You know, maybe that's something you can relate to. Like where you feel like maybe you know, you're like your own mother's mom, potentially. Not always the case, but basically like she just like is very responsible. she genuinely likes to work. And with you having your Mars, right, which is like the planet of action, I'll go ahead and re-show this in the sixth house of sixth house is about like your day-to-day working, your routine, your health. That's showing that there probably is this real hard-working energy to you, and this ability, if you are an employee, like you'd be a very good employee, right? And then if you're an entrepreneur, you'd be a very good entrepreneur because you'd be able to kind of structure your daily life in a way that you're a fixed fire, like you're able to start but also like to continue to be consistent with it in a fiery type of way, right? And with the Scorpio, like if you were an entrepreneur, that just gives you like this lie detector. Like you have the built-in lie detector, especially with your Mercury in Scorpio, right? Because Mercury in conjunct Venus, right, in the midheaven. And also one thing about Mercury conjunct midheaven is that gives the potential to have two careers. So I often find it that people that have Mercury conjunct their midheaven, they're people who they might have like multiple careers or career changes. But like what I mean more by that is like having like maybe they have like the hobby and then they have like the money maker, right? And their goal, I'll put my face back, their goal is to have the money, the hobby, like the thing they're really passionate about, become the money maker eventually. But they're very hardworking. Also, they can have careers that are based on, well, your midheaven's conjunct Venus, Uranus, and Mercury. Mercury is the close conjunction. So your career / like your dharma, like what you're meant to do. It's not just career. It's like your outer level life. Like people that have Mercury conjunct midheaven Scorpio, they might be like really, really good with like speaking, communicating, can play a large role in their daily kind of like their career, like whether it's in like sales. But Scorpio is more deep, so it could be like in something like in research, psychology would be a huge one, or like coaching, something like that, right? But then Venus there and Uranus there indicates that you'd want to take like an artistic path, potentially something that is that where beauty is involved in your career, but also something that's unconventional and it's also humanitarian. So when you combine all those, we'll talk in the follow-up about kind of like what that equals, right? And yeah, so that's kind of that part. So yeah, Mercury and Scorpio, it can make one quite intense with their communicate with the way what happened with the way they communicate. Like they are like probers, like they're people who just want to go deep. They okay, another thing about your chart, like fuck small talk. Like that's got to be like a mantra of yours. Like you are not a fan. Yes, you have Mars and Leo, but that is it. Mercury and Scorpio does not like to talk about bullshit. It likes to talk about what's real, like what's underneath the surface, like you're here to learn, as I told you before, right? And you've come in. So I'm curious about your family of origin, right? Because typically a square of the sun and the moon, and I told you your square is kind of an abnormal one. It has to do with like a divorce or like a miscommunication between the two parents. But I'm very curious, and I definitely make sure to take a note so we talk about this. Because I need to get feedback on what this elemental sextile and but actual angular square, what because it can kind of go like either way, like where there's like fine relations between them, but usually like the square is like a divorce, like minor square, but minor and square signs. I hope this makes sense to you. Like maybe I can explain it. I don't know your level of astrology, but like it's quite simple. So okay, so you see how your sun's in Scorpio, right? So Capricorn is 1, 2, right? It's 2 signs away from Scorpio, and that's a sextile. That's like a smooth flow when they're 2 signs away. But because it's at 4 Scorpio, right? And the moon's at 28, right, at the end of Capricorn, it's close to a 90-degree angle, which is a square, which would be like for Aquarius. But because your moon's in Capricorn, it's not in Aquarius, by element, it's still a sextile because, it's 2 signs away. But by angle, based on the fact that it's nearly 90 degrees away, right, it's a square. So that's where the confusion comes. I don't know if that made sense. I thought it was going to be an easier explanation than it was, but whatever. Well, if you understand, you understand. But it's not so important. The important part is to understand that, like, it could go. I want to know, like, what direction that goes. God damn it! Like, how did I just get bit? I just meditated for like an hour before this, laying on my bed, and just like, ugh, how did something bite me? Like, is that a spider? Ugh. No, it's a mosquito. It has to be. So yeah. Definitely not a chart. Like, you're not here to mess around. And it also is so yeah, with your communication, it only, you don't have that many aspects in your chart. So you're not really like that held back. Like, your chart isn't like what I would consider like a difficult chart. It's a very free chart. It's a very open chart. So even though, so I think that, like, the fact that, yeah, it's a very open chart. And like, I'm excited to hear about that. And you have to remind me about everything I'm saying, like, not everything, but like about these things I'm saying, like that statement, like your chart's a very open chart. There's not that many aspects. Like, definitely take notes, take that note, and remind me. But there are some things going on, right? I mean, there's obviously a lot going on. I'm just saying that it's not like one. It's one of the, like, the more from what I've seen so far, like, easy charts I've seen so far. But it could change. So yeah, so we understand that Mercury, 8th house, they like to go, they like to go deep. They're very their mind is interested in the darker parts of life, the underground, very anti-superficial knowledge. They can also be a warrior, have very intense communications. They use resources super well, very intelligent, right? And it's conjunct your midheaven, so it gives you a very strong Mercury because it's conjunct an angle, and it has it really gives you this ability to really, like, when you're interested in something, to really delve into the core of it, right? And the Capricorn moon gives you this staying power. So, like, once you do decide whatever it is that you want to, like, be passionate about and really, like, do, you can do it. Like, some people like myself, like, there's this wishy-washy energy where, like, I have lots of fire, I have lots of air, I have lots of everything besides earth. Like, it's astrology is pretty much the only thing in my life besides, like, basketball when I was younger that, from, like, a work standpoint, that I've been able to, like, really stick to. And I love it. And I even still sometimes have struggles, right, with it, with not struggles, but it's like it's very hard. Like, when you lack earth, it's very hard to kind of be the same person day after day and have balance. And the cat moon kind of gives you this natural balance. But like I said, the lack of air can make it difficult for communication, and understanding different people's perspectives. And one thing that can be really good for you is doing breath work, like that's like literally like doing things where you literally quite literally get more oxygen, going and hiking up a mountain, and just getting air in your lungs. Yoga, like where you're working your lungs, whatever is getting more oxygen in you. Drinking lots of water, of course, is very important. So yeah, then we talk about like the ninth house. Just Uranus kind of being the final touch there. Uranus in the ninth house is basically going to make you have very exciting adventures, and also like when you travel and stuff, and also it's going to give you very unusual and individualistic philosophies, and like I said before, like your love life is gonna really reflect that. So let's talk about love, right? Let's talk about love. So okay, obviously there's that Scorpio energy, right? But there's gonna be that push and pull between like like that deep two souls becoming one, like I like never want to separate from you, borderline clinginess. But like then your south node's in the first house, so like that kind of makes me think that like it kind of pushes that away a little bit, where it's more like it's more like in past lives you've been independent, you've been very independent, and maybe you haven't made enough sacrifices, right? But in this life, it's like learning to balance that out, right? Learn to like have your own pursuits, but then also like the relationship. I need to tell you that you have one of the best indicators of luck with like meeting the right partners, because you have Jupiter on your descendant. So this is a spectacular placement, and it basically means that you're going to learn a lot through your relationships and have lots of luck with who you meet relationship wise. But a big but, the opposing energy of Saturn is also there. I just saw that. And what that does, Saturn, and it's in Virgo, immutable, is that it kind of pushes some of that away. So there is the seesaw energy where like on one hand, like if Saturn was by itself, I would say that you probably wouldn't have met like your real like the one or whatever until like your Saturn return around 30. But with Jupiter there, it's like it's kind of a mix of like of restriction and then and luck. So my guess of how that would probably play out, and let's talk about this because your north node's there too, is that you probably had relationships that you learned a lot of, but your real staying power, maybe you're married, like the relationship probably was after you're 30. But it's kind of difficult because these are opposite energies. One's very expansive, Jupiter, one's very restrictive, Saturn. And yeah, so what's gonna say about that? Because also Saturn and Saturn, there can be like a fear of commitment in relationships, where you could have felt like overwhelmed by one-on-one relationships earlier in life, but like overall you learn a bunch through your relationships. Now, Sun. Okay, I didn't talk about this. Sun opposite Chiron. That's a big one. That basically, is saying that being a healer is a big part of your identity, but that you might like attract. There can be issues, I guess you could say, with how do I say this in English? There can be issues with like Chiron is the wounded healer, right? Sun is who you are. So it basically just speaks to like spiritual pain being something that is very present in your lifetime, right? And let me open up my notes for the first time with this one. So okay, let's see here. Where is it? Where did I put this? Yeah, so it's really like lots of people have this, like they can have they can be the one that people come to like when there's pain, and lots of people, this is like literally like you're a healer, you're meant to be a healer, but everyone that is meant that has a Chiron like connected in a like either to your ascendant, your sun, your moon, unless it's a conjunction, right? If it's a square or an opposition, you went through some pain early in life, like spiritual pain. Usually it's around like the father, because it's a son. Maybe the father was very like unable to be like vulnerable, which would make sense. One or both of the parents was unable to really be vulnerable, because the moon in Capricorn would signify that, right? It would signify that like that there's maybe like the strictness and this coldness that you received from one of the parents. and it's usually moon is usually the mom. But yeah, so like a lot of times it's like the sense of self is challenged by the emotions, and there's like a sense of shame that comes that has to be worked through, right? And it can show itself as loneliness, and we talked about you being an introvert, and at its worst, it can be like kind of self-victimization. So it's very important to really understand the real deep like childhood dynamics, especially with your father, and then you're able to like really like help others who might deal with loneliness and like spiritual pain, right? But like how this shows up earlier in life is that constantly being met with like criticism, rejection, exclusion, and like as those relate to your individuality, right? So it kind of makes one like kind of repressed. So it makes someone very sensitive, and obviously you're a Scorpio, so you're very sensitive, very talented in like music and anything artistic, poetry, writing. But yeah, there can be like this fear of like kind of like being yourself that has to be overcome, and then you can use that to help heal other people. So I was talking about love, and I go, and that relates to love too. Healing in that way. That's more family stuff. But yeah, like the Venus and Scorpio, of course, like it's looking for the soulmate, not just the marriage partner, the soulmate, right? Sharing all your deepest emotions with, intensity playing like a key feature in the relationships. Also, it's very sexually intense. All the Scorpio energy, it's like that tantra kind of sex, with that like not like just the fun, but with having Mars, which is also very related to relationships, in the sixth house in Leo, that is different, where that could actually make it so there is a need. There's a part of you that is very in touch with the inner child, right? I still haven't even mentioned the fact that your chart ruler is Neptune, and it's in the 10th house. We'll talk about that in a sec. But yeah, so because I like to go through the inner planets first. And Mars, the big aspect is Mars square Uranus. So Mars square Uranus, the way you can think about that is like it's almost like this unending. It's very rebellious energy, right? Which is interesting because usually the planets you have are very like to the book. But I feel like maybe that has to do with your parents, right? Like it's like traditional Scorpio and Capricorn together. So maybe there's like some kind of rebellion as relates to the parents. But like there's like this constant need for stimulation, right? Um very, very creative, but sometimes it can create someone who will go to the edge of earth just to do what the people don't want them to do. Um and it can kind of like offend more like conservative people, right? I think of it as like a volcanic energy. So there's a real need for like I say this in many readings. I had a reading yesterday that had this exact same aspect. There's definitely a need to have like a an outlet, a physical outlet, not just a creative outlet, but a physical outlet, like working out and stuff, right? Because there can be like a frustration that comes from this, right? And like acting out, especially when young, the one that gets in trouble. But also it's like a very like genius energy, when it's put together. Sorry, I let mosquitoes in. I'm getting bit. It's fucking annoying. So yeah, there can be like upsetting like family members and society in general. Yeah, like anything from like your profession to your sexuality to how you are can cause like controversy, like to more like conservative people, and you might really like enjoy that, like pissing people off in that way. But like it makes someone very, very entertaining, very funny usually, a lot of times. There's like, but like you have to watch out, because in relationship it can be like this, like, and you have this like with your Venus and your Mars, this endless need for change and for variety and for excitement. So that is completely like creating what in psychology we call the split right? The split where there's two parts, right? Which I also do astrological counseling if you're ever interested in doing that. But that's you know, the next step is obviously the follow-up, and if you want to do after that, it's the current astrology report, which is a live report where we talk about the current astrology. Then if you're still interested, I do astrological counseling, but just letting you know, because there's no other way I don't really advertise this that much. So yeah, that's kind of what I see there. I think in relationships you come off as like mother, nurturer, kind of with the vertex and Cancer. But there's still a level of fun that's really expressed in your relationships. And aside from that, like I said, lots of luck. You know, Mars in the sixth house. Besides that, you know, it's just very, very good for being a hard worker. But you don't want to, like, you might be someone that even in your workouts, in your daily routine, in your work, you might push yourself too hard. So you have to really watch out for that. Like, it's a very that's like something like something that like an athlete would have. But like being grounded in your physical outlet is very important. So the dark side of your personality that's how I see Black Moon Lilith. Like, kind of like, if you let it go, it can run amok. And it's in Libra, so it's conjunct Pluto like mine. So you're born, oh no, you're not born, you're born 11 years before me. And interesting. Basically, like, 8th house, you know, Black Moon Lilith in Libra. I think of Black Moon Lilith in Libra is a you think of like what the downside of Libra is, and it can be like gossiping, you know, gossiping, you know, and talking about other people, like not minding your own business kind of thing, right? And also lying and social climbing. And I'm not saying you do these things. I'm saying that, like, potentially, like, especially with Capricorn moon, it could be someone who's willing to be fake to get to the top. And like, literally, like, Black Moon Lilith, like I said, I'm gonna say it a million times if I had to. This isn't a planet. This is a potential, right? So it's like, this is you at your worst, right? Also, there can be like another offshoot can be like never enough money, and just like, you know, another big potential for this is people pleasing, which, as a Scorpios like to keep it real, but like, it's still a potential because you're Pisces rising, and Pisces rising, that's your personality, right? That's how you come off. So you know, there can be a potential of you know, Pisces rising, very, very sweet, very empathetic, super compassionate with your Scorpio too, super intuitive. I don't even have to say this stuff. Come on, we get the point about the water, how intuitive, how compassionate, how empathetic, how you're tapped into the energy of the people around you, how you need to spend time alone to not take in too much of it, how as a healer it can be difficult for you to separate those things, to separate your energy and to not take on shame that's not yours, right? But yeah, Black Moon Lilith, you have to watch out for people pleasing and putting people above you. That's very, very, very important. Okay, so going down the aspect grid, I'll flash the chart again while I stare close to my computer. My computer's so annoying, it always drags too far. So, okay. Oh, I know. Let me get this out. So the fact that your moon, you know, it's already, so it's trine Saturn also. So it's kind of like, okay, we already have a Capricorn moon. Trine Saturn. It's just gonna add more responsibility. Also like a level of diplomacy, like even more ambition to what you already have. And it'll tend to make someone like, so that I'm very curious about like the mix between being conservative and being the opposite of conservative. I don't want to say liberal, but being like very like individualistic. Like, I'm very curious about like how that plays out, and if there's like this push and pull between the two, because there's definitely like a split in your chart. But definitely also lots of thoroughness in dealing with your problems. You know, Sun and Jupiter, you know, you see there's a sextile. It's a close one too. It is Sun here, Jupiter here. That speaks to that's very good for popularity, optimism. It makes one very generous. And it can kind of take away some of the more like dark energy that Scorpio can have. But you know, yeah. But Pisces rising in itself is going to be someone who they're not going to exude. They're not going to exude this darkness. You know, like Scorpio risings can be very mysterious, right? So yeah, I'm looking for one thing in this book I just got. Okay, I found it. So yeah, also Pisces and Sun, you can be a little bit disorganized. I wanted to mention that, and careless, and kind of like down to just like, and this is why I'm really curious about how this works. The Capricorn moon, like kind of down to just go with the flow and just see what happens, right? And also like in terms of physicality, there can be a tendency to have like large luminous eyes, you know, like well-shaped feet because it rules the feet, wavy hair. And then it makes Neptune, as I was going to say, very prominent in your birth chart, right? Because it's the ruler. And Neptune is all about compassion, sensitivity, intuition, imagination, creativity, just like an interest in the occult and spirituality. But also it can encourage lots of confusion, indecisiveness, vagueness, carelessness, self-deception. Self-deception is a big one, right? So the fact that you have it in the 10th house right here, you know, that's speaking about how your career in your dharma and what you're really here to do is to be someone who is of service to humanity. And maybe even like there can be like a sense of feeling like your career, and like I don't really like using the word career, but like what you did, like what you've done for a living, what you've done you know, to, I guess, and it's in Sagittarius, right? Like what you do on like a large large like large, I don't know why I can't think of the words, like big picture, like life has to do with like compassion and helping other people. And you know, in Sag, there's a very like uplifting, altruistic influence to it, right? So yeah, like it's fine intellects, high purpose, and it gives more you know, like, kind of this like sage energy, but this is like a generational energy, right? Okay, I'm looking for one thing. I just got this new book. I'm just realizing that it has so much cool stuff. Like it's cool to have cause like I know, like I haven't used notes at all this whole reading. Okay, but like I love like getting like little keywords. And it's because like it literally has like little keywords that I can expand on, because like it's hard to remember every single fucking thing. You know what I mean? Like because astrology is so multidimensional. So okay, South Node in the first house, courageous, plucky, having true gift and initiative, popular, spontaneous, full of energy, vivacious, charismatic. And then North Node in the 7th house, indecisive. Wait, no. That was not it. North Node in the 7th house is about like learning cooperation, you know, yeah, basic cooperation, harmonious relationships, a willingness to commit to like partnerships, like maybe in past life there like hasn't been like a willingness to commit. And yeah, like becoming like more charming, more Venusian in your kind of way of being. And in Virgo, you know, it's obviously all about tuning into that 6th house of Mars, and really being the, I'll put myself back on, like being the person who is able to really like day after day like dial into their work. But you have to watch out with Mars in the 6th house. And I wonder, does this book have anything about like the medical astrology piece? Because my other medical astrology piece or book is not the way I like it. But yeah, Mars in the 6th, you got to watch out for overworking. You got to watch out for overworking. You might also like, lots of people that have Mars in the 6th, they tend to like, I get a bookmark. Where is it? 1 second. Sorry for being. Okay. That's good. So animals rule 6th house too. So they can actually be people who like kind of more dangerous animals, like a pit bull or like, like a snake or something like that, like more Martian animals. And I'm looking. Okay, I think I found. Have I found it? Are you? No, this can't be real. This book can't not have what I think it does. Don't worry, I have another book about this, and I have it all in my brain. I'm just curious that I'm curious about this 167. Interesting. Huh. 293. Where's the health one? 167. Okay. Let's see if I can see. I already know all this stuff. Doesn't tell me anything I want to know. So I guess yeah, Mars and Leo, like in the 6th house, Leo rules the heart. So like, there's a strong need to like express your personal creativity, your authentic self-expression, your inner child has to come out. So this is the part of your chart that gives you more of like an inner child, right? And Pisces also can be like kind of like fun and go with the flow. But yeah, I definitely think you're probably you can have the potential to be quite dramatic person, which would be a great actress. But yeah, Mars and Leo is a very strong Mars sign, and it can actually like give you lots of assertiveness. So that's very cool. Wow, this is so weird. It doesn't have this. Oh, I have an idea. In 1 second. Yeah, one thing about also like Moon and Capricorn, money is important. Very determined person. Tend not to find true love in youth. I've said all this stuff before. Very persistent, ambitious, powerful personality, and instinct for excellence. Like so dedicated. But obviously I already said all that. Basically what I'm looking for in this book, and it talks about the decanates of Gemini, or of the signs. So I guess we could talk about that, see what it says about the first decan of Scorpio. This book's weird. It's like talking about stuff that I usually don't talk about in readings, but I like kind of wait, what the heck? I like kind of like switching it up, and some readings talking about things I don't usually talk about. So it says, oh no, this is about the cusps. Oh yeah, so you're born just outside the cusp. Okay, so that's not what I was looking for. Okay, here we are. So the decans, it separates like your sun sign into 3. So for Scorpio, you're in the first decan, and Basically it says, so it makes keyword integrity, planet subruler Pluto, so it's like Scorpio, so it makes you very Scorpio. So Pluto is both your ruler and subruler, which gives you a hypnotic intensity to your personality. You're loyal and steadfast, and others quickly sense they can depend on you. You'll stand by a lover long after others in the same situation would let it go. Once you let go, however, there's usually no turning back. You have fixed opinions, but also a scientific turn of mind that will examine ideas and arrive at a new opinion should the facts warrant it. You are drawn to the mysterious and the occult, but may keep this a secret. You should choose to use it. Should you choose to use it, you have a great power of self-discipline. Sometimes you let things slide by because you don't care enough to exert yourself. Interesting. That's the first time I've talked about a dick in a chart. Maybe I'll start doing it. So yeah, okay. So then we have that the other important one, and I was talking about the moon square, or excuse me, the Mars square Venus. Basically, like, this one's pretty self-explanatory from my perspective, not yours, because I've explained it. Basically, it's just explaining how the Mars well, first of all, the Venus is conjunct Uranus, so that's already kind of making this a very interesting square. And we already talked about Mars square Uranus, but because Venus and Uranus are together, Mars is also square Venus, not just Uranus. So basically, it kind of has that same energy in love. I have to say that it's very like big sex drive, and being a Scorpio, sex is very important, but it can bring lots of intense love-hate feelings in relationships. Like there can be like this massive escalation of anger and temper tantrums, right? So it's all about like gaining like self-control over like the volatile passions. That's what I'm saying it. And so it's not about having like a weak or submissive partner, but you have to have an understanding and grounding partner, right? You don't want someone who like you fight and then it's like fight and it's just like two, like my ex best friend, he's an Aries and he was dating an Aries, and it was just like two Aries like rams going at it like when they would fight. It's like no good, right? So yeah, that's that. And let's see what my this says about that. So impulsive, quarrelsome, difficulty and strain in sexual relationships, hypersensitivity, discontentment. I love these key words for the different aspects. But then, Venus, Mercury is conjunct Venus. That's beautiful. That is cheerful, lighthearted, artistic, native, leans towards literary and creative pursuits. That just gives like a sort of more of a sweetness to your communication, which can be often quite intense, and sometimes like people can be like freaked out by like the really Scorpio people. But the Venus there, conjunct the Venus, will give like a sweetness to it, and also like it'll make you like really want to communicate a lot in your relationships about Scorpionic subjects. Then there's also, okay, we talked about that. Saturn, Uranus. So, Venus with Saturn, constructive influence in business partnerships, serious and faithful in love. So this is the thing. When you, like after 30, like you're guaranteed to have long lasting relationships, basically. Like as guaranteed, because Saturn and Venus together in a sextile, it creates long lasting, especially with Jupiter there. That's when it starts to become like you have an amazing relationship energy now. Amazing. Because when Saturn goes like after the Saturn turn goes from being like a restrictor to like something that gives staying power, you have relationships that expand you, and that also have staying power. So very, very cool. Okay, getting closer and closer. Venus and Uranus, I think I talked about that, but just like a little more, I did talk about that obviously, but like what they say, romantic, artistic personality intrigues others because of unusual ideas about sex and love, can be very sentimental. Interesting. I like having little additions, but that's what I've already talked in depth about. Okay, Mars, we talked about the square. You know, there's also the Venus and Neptune and Pluto. So that's like lots of creative impulse, idealistic and crusading, powerful emotions, strong imagination. Very, very good in like a very, very flowing way. And then in Pluto, now this is awesome for like for physical vitality. So great physical energy, self-confidence, ambitious, courageous. That's like the energy of someone like when they put their mind to something, it's just game over. Like they can just like have this like ball of energy, that endurance, like boom, just like continuously can go and go and go. All right, what have I not talked about? Anything? Chiron in the third. So there could be like issues around you finding your voice, like I need to work on the throat chakra in your life. Maybe early schooling could have been painful. There could have been like issues with your siblings, with communication, and maybe you internalized some thought like that you're not smart or that your communication style is bad, and you became very shy. And the Capricorn moon doesn't help that. But with your healing, you know, it basically opens that up. Chiron Taurus, you know, Chiron in an earth sign, it speaks about pain around the body, around the senses, also around values. So there can be a lack of self-worth when younger, that can be overcompensated by accruing money or like possessions. And there can also be a big distrust of the body. So I always say, if you have this, do yoga, do something like that where you're getting in touch, or meditation, where you're getting in touch. And yoga is killing two birds with one stone. I hate that expression. It's doing two things at once, right? Because it's allowing you to do like the physical thing that you need in your chart, the physical exercise with the Chiron like body healing, right? So yeah, it's all about like learning to rely on your body and the cues your body gives. All right, so aside from that, you know, I pretty much talked about everything besides the midheaven ruled by Mars. So that's just going to make it so you're going to be a very good worker, very, very driven worker. You know, it's a 29-degree midheaven. Oh, and we also have to like go through to see if there's any fixed stars that are important. But yeah, 29-degree midheaven, you know, you're going to be someone who is going to go through many karmic completions as it relates to your kind of like your like what you're here to do. Like your purpose on this planet is based on there's like a very big karmic completion to it, and I believe that it is very, very deep what you're doing. And yeah, like one more thing about the relationship stuff is you're going to be very, very attracted to like the consistent individual, the person that you know you can count on. That's the Cat Moon and the Descendant in Virgo, and that you know you can count on to be there day after day. And I didn't mention the fact that Jupiter is conjunct your North Node. That's basically giving you super, super like luck and positive forward energy as it relates to your North Node energy of like your destiny, like the Virgo North Node, right? Which is about like in this life being of service to others, and letting go of that tendency to daydream, and putting that wisdom and that mysticism from past lives, all these gifts into, you know, practical use for humanity, right? But Jupiter by itself, you know, in Virgo, is someone who is very analytical, someone who is very like able to see everything, like physically, like notice all like little details of life, and also who's able to you know, have like a very like strong desire to be of service, right? Very high spiritual ideals for sure. And you have to watch out for perfectionism in your chart and workaholism. That's another big thing. Watch out for those two. Pluto, I have not mentioned Pluto in the 8th house in its home. What else can you say besides the fact that, you know, you're here to go through these really intense, you know, soul experiences, like soul binding experiences and relationships, where you're united with others. And also it's like about like probing really, really deep into like your own darkness, your own shadow, and also into like metaphysical spiritual studies, right? And yeah, so that's very important. I think I've touched on everything. Part of fortune, 3rd house, you know, I think of that as like and in Taurus is like, you know, you'll find lots of like your flow state when you're communicating in your relationships. And there's this big need to learn to think clearly and develop your higher mind. And you know, obviously with the Chiron there, it's like you like when you get past like whatever wound is related to the communicating and the thinking, that's when you find so much joy. And in Taurus, it's about building firm foundations in your life. Like I also have part of fortune in Taurus, and I found that I, you know, and it matches up with my life path number, which I don't do numerology. But maybe I can start doing life path number because I understand that. But basically, like for me, it basically shows that like when my life is in order, and there's stability, especially as it relates to career, because mine's around midheaven, I feel like really good. I feel really like I'm in my flow state, and I start to attract lots of luck. Like when I'm like consistent, like I've been lately with my content, with myself, with all these like things, I'm attracting abundance through that, which is what Taurus is. You attract abundance when you find your voice. Is kind of a smooth way of you saying it. Let's see if I can do this. 28th October 1979. Okay. So yeah, life path number 1. So I'm just going to read about it. So life path number 1 is a strong vibration, and it's done by doing your birth month equals 10, which is 1. Your birthday is 28, which is 2 plus 8, which is 1. Really? No, it's 0. So it's still 1. And your birth year is 1979, which is 1 plus 9 plus 7 plus 9. So what's that? That's like 0 plus 7. Oh no, it's 10, 17, 26, which is 2 plus 6, which is 8. So you're 9. Okay, I get how to do it now. I can do it in my head. So wait. And then it says your life path number. Oh, I see how it works. So it's 1, which is the month, plus 1. So the day is a 1, even though it's 2 plus 8. I guess that equals 1. Even though I guess 0 doesn't count in numerology. Plus 8, which is 10, 1. So your life path number is 1, and that has to do with a strong vibration, one of individuality and invention. Those with this tend to be ambitious, individualistic, determined, and likely to take on a leader role in any venture. You're likely more drawn to independent, creative, and innovative pursuits. You like the freedom to follow your own goals and be the boss when it comes to making any and all of your life decisions. Be wary of overextending yourself and losing focus in your endeavors. So very interesting. First time I've added a life path number to my readings. Okay, so let's see what we see here real quickly. So okay, 28 Taurus and 4 Scorpio. Oh, it's close to Algol. But no. 620, 610. You're just out of orb of algal, which is like the most unfortunate. So you're lucky. You're still lucky. And like lots of Scorpio, just go to Scorpio. Okay. Why don't I just load my own in the program? Okay, so okay, that's nothing. Okay, so yeah, you have Serpentis conjunct Venus. That is definitely like a very, very like one of the really, really most difficult one, but it's also very esoteric. It's kind of like a snake energy, right? So let's see. Venus conjunct and it's called Unu Kalai. Enmity, jealousy of own sex, bad for domestic matters, favorable for gain, secret, like secrets in love potentially. Okay, so it makes you like very, very scorpionic in love, unless you kind of get past it. Okay, nothing else there. We go around the zodiac, midheaven. I don't think I saw anything. Okay, yeah, Toliman. I don't know what that is. Let's see if there's anything written about the midheaven and Toliman. Nothing. I'm only looking for the big boys here. 5 Virgo in 20 for Saturn. 5 and 22 Virgo. Let's see what Saturn and Jupiter. Oh, Denibola conjunct. That's one of the Bohemians, I believe. No, it's not. Crazy. Wait, I thought it was. So that's a really difficult one. So what it says is that with Saturn conjuncted, it's critical, always complaining, many enemies, lost through servants and thieves, domestic sorrow, wife afflicted, or children mentally unsound or deformed. So whenever I read these to people, I'm like, these are really old like explanations, and to not take them at face value, and that, yeah. It also says there's a weakness in the lungs causing fluids to accumulate. A congestion of the lungs occurs that can also affect the heart, resulting in a sluggish heartbeat. This can be painful, but it continues as these individuals are not aware there's a problem at this point. Usually they are the ones who smoke and who cough frequently. The dull aching pain in the chest they feel is often is more than often blamed on the heart, but the problem is in the lungs. So if the problem is not taken care of, they have a change of attitude toward. If the problem is not taken care of, they have a change of attitude towards others. They become impatient and make unusual demands of others. The herb chamomile is excellent for the lungs. It should be taken daily. You see what I'm doing? Give you this kind of astrology too. 18 Leo. Where are we at? Where did my list go? Okay. I don't think there's anything with this one. Nope. It says, yeah, Marriott conjunct Mars, increased power to get on in life. These are, so we figured out anything. Last one is the ascendant at 1 degree. I'm pretty sure there's nothing there. There might be though. 1 degree Pisces, and I see 29 Taurus. Did I forget anything? So 29 Taurus and 1 Pisces. Okay. NF. I have no idea what NF is. And there's literally nothing, no explanation about it. Why the hell does it even have it? It says it's really good for like prevailing against like diseases. It gives ambition, vanity, intuition, enthusiasm. Okay. Mars and Mercury high in Taurus, combative, destructive also. Also has to do with ships in the ocean, changes in weather. In medieval times, it was said to indicate vain individuals with a great deal of ambition, but with very poor judgment. So take the fixed star stuff with a grain of salt, obviously. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Definitely went pretty deep in this one. Oh, there's last one. Let's see if there's anything with Sabic and Neptune. Probably not. Oh shit, there is. So your Neptune conjunct fixed star Sabic, highly sensitive, psychic, strong will, prominent writer, speaker, success, many friends, favors from the opposite sex, gifts and legacies used for scientific purposes, domestic harmony. So you see how these kind of balance each other out. So yeah, don't expect me to remember any of the fixed star stuff. But yeah, besides that, it's been a very interesting reading. And I look forward to hearing back from you to set up the follow-up. Thank you for your patience and have a great day/night. Ciao.